and 21 of which were children. I'd like to take this opportunity to ask for a moment of silence as a sign of solidarity and deep condolences. Thank you. As you all prepare to enjoy some delicious food, please give me the opportunity to thank the Baton Rouge Press Club for allowing me to grace your stage for today's conversation. My name is Dadrius Lanus, and I proudly serve as the Executive Director for the Louisiana Democratic Party. Today, I can assure you that I will not be minced with my words, as we are not in a moment where we can remain silent. Not only will I be frank, but I want it to be thoroughly understood that all the normal rules of engagement no longer apply. They no longer apply because, to be quite clear, Louisiana, we are in the fight of our lives. So, let's start our discussion. Let's discuss the big ugly bill, the big corporate welfare bill, the big starved kids bill, the bill to hurt disabled veterans, the big harm elderly citizens bill. You see, no matter what you call this horrific piece of legislation, it will have the same effect on the lives of hundreds of thousands of Louisianians across our state. You see, I'm not here to play politics. I'm here to protect our families. And when a bill threatens to rip health care from nearly 2 million Louisianians, we have to tell the truth, plain and simple. Louisiana's working families are in danger, and most folks don't even know it. The bill that was signed into law has promised a lot of beautiful things. But if you look past all the headlines, here's what you see. Billions in cuts to Medicare and Medicaid. And who pays the price? It's not Wall Street. It's your mother. It's your grandparents. It's your neighbors, especially those who live in rural towns and parishes across the state. This is not about right and left. This is about right and wrong. That's why the Louisiana Democratic Party is speaking up, standing up, and fighting back to protect the care that we have earned, paid into, and still need to survive. Throughout the last week, I've fielded calls from concerned citizens across Louisiana asking questions, and this is what they said. Miss Carol Ann, a nurse from Evangeline Parish, said, if they take care from my patients, I'll be watching people I grow up with die from treatable conditions. Treatable conditions. That's not politics, that's personal. Mr. Jerry, a retired pipe fitter from West Monroe, put it this way. I paid into Medicare my whole life. Now they're saying I got to lose it so some CEO can buy another jet. Nah, I'm not buying that. Miss Ashley, a young mother in Homer, shared, my baby was born premature. Medicaid kept him alive. Without it, I don't know where I'd be. This bill does not help families like mine, it destroys it. This bill doesn't clean up waste. It shifts costs from the wealthy to working class citizens. It takes life-saving care away from those who need it the most, just to fund tax breaks for billionaires, big corporations. Simply put, Louisiana deserves better. Our people deserve honesty, not headlines. The Congressional Office, or the Congressional Budget Office rather, or CBO, has estimated that the bill will slash over $1.3 trillion from Medicare and Medicaid over the next decade. These are lifelines that have kept Louisiana families, hospitals, and seniors afloat. Over 1.8 million Louisianians, nearly 40% of our state's population, rely on Medicare and Medicaid just to access basic care. I want to say that last line one more time, because I want it to be thoroughly understood exactly what's on the line to be cut. Over 1.8 million Louisianians, nearly 40% of our state's population, rely on Medicare and Medicaid just to access basic health care. Since its passing, 33 rural hospitals, 33, across Louisiana are now projected to close. That's 3 hospitals in Clay Higgins' congressional district that are set to close. That's 11 rural hospitals in Speaker Mike Johnson's congressional district that are set to close. And that's 18 rural hospitals in Julia Letlow's congressional district that are set to close. And guess what? They all voted in favor of the bill, knowing it would harm the lives of our citizens. Their own constituency, who trusted them with their vote, in their time of need, they all turned their backs. But you know who was the most surprising of them all? The most surprising vote had to be Bill Cassidy, someone who is a licensed medical doctor, someone who took the Hippocratic Oath to provide care for anyone in need, someone who actually worked at a charity hospital, Earl K. Long Medical Hospital, voted in favor of the bill just so Trump wouldn't campaign against him, and guess what? His party still wants him gone. This is the one gray area that I will agree. Bill Coward Cassidy, and yes, I call him a coward, because you have to be a coward to turn your back on your state. You have to be a coward to cut Medicare and Medicaid, and you work inside of the medical field. You see, I don't question him as a man, I question him as an elected official, because you have a duty, you have an oath, and you swore that duty in the oath on the Bible in front of all of your constituency, in front of all of the citizens across the state of Louisiana, and you chose to turn your back. As I said before, Bill Cassidy must go. So here we are. The Democratic Revolution is here. It is now, and we are prepared for the fight ahead. As I said before, the normal rules of political engagement are out the door. This is a new time that calls for new energy, new strategy, new mobilization, a new resurgence, and this time we will answer the call. For those who doubt, just remember this moment. As we gear up for our Fight for Our Lives state tour, we're planning to travel the state in all the areas affected by the bill, reminding the people who turned their backs on them in their time of need. We look to turn every parish into a battleground and every voice into a movement. This time, Louisiana can't lose. We've lost too much. This time, we have to adhere to the people. This time, we'll go block by block, parish by parish, talking to people who are most affected, the most vulnerable across our state. You see, for far too long, we've allowed politics to come into these political arenas and take away from what's the most important, and that's hearing your voices, hearing your concerns, understanding what your families face every single day that you wake up, when you cannot afford gas to put inside of your car, when you can't afford health care, when the price of eggs is so high you gotta figure out whether you gotta pay your bills or feed your family. You see, I come to you, and one person's testimony I didn't tell you about was my own. You see, I had a single mother who raised 4 kids. Had it not been for Medicaid and Medicare, I could not promise you I would be on this stage today, because we could not afford health care or a health care plan. I thank my mother every single day for what she gave, and what she continues to do to support my family. And much like she supported mine, we're going to fight for families across this state, because you need it now more than ever. As I said before, This is far, far, far ahead, beyond politics. This is not about left and right. This is not about conservative and liberal. This is about Louisiana. And that we're not willing to put politics aside to fight for the people that we believe in. We are not suited to fit inside of these positions that we serve across our state. What I can say is that if you are a Republican, I'm not telling you that you have to join the Democratic Party, but what I am telling you is vote better. Vote for those who are willing to fight for your rights. Vote for those who are willing to hear your voices. Vote for those who are going to remember you before they cast their vote every single time, whether it's in Baton Rouge at the state capitol or whether it's in Washington, D.C. Remember the moment that those who chose to turn their backs on you did so without you or your family in regard. And with that, I close and I take any questions from the crowd.
So when you say the rule, sorry, I'm not going to get the phrasing right on this. You say the normal rules of political engagement no longer apply.
Yes.
How is your party going to capitalize on that? What new actions, what new policy, what new thing are you going to do than what has already been done? So
this is what I can tell you. When you ask me that question, I think we've already begun to do that, and I think that the citizens of Louisiana have already begun to see what are the effects of that. I think that took place back in March, when the entire state came out and voted down 4 dangerous amendments that looked to hurt and harm the citizens across our state. And I want to remind people inside of this room and anyone who's watching, this was not simply done by Democrats. This was done by Democrats, independents, and Republicans alike, who said that you do not have the right to come in and take safeguards away from our families, change rules along the way without engaging the people so they can understand and know exactly what is going on at the state capitol. This is going to continue to take place. You see, our strategy before was we were too politically involved in what was going on in Washington, D.C. From day one, I said that I agree with something that our DNC chair came up with. His name is Ken Martin. And he said that we have to get our states out of Washington, D.C. And my singular plan from day one was we have got to get Louisiana out of Washington, D.C. and focus on the points, focus on the concerns of the things that affect the people of Louisiana every single day, some of which I've already brought up. Let's talk about some others. There's the cost of insurance. And you all look at the legislation that's being passed across our state. This just happened and it was signed into law by our governor. And what happened was, under this piece of legislation, they have now taken your rights away as citizens to take insurance companies to court. Now, you have to go through an arbitrator. Who do arbitrators work for? Insurance companies. This means that you don't even have the singular right to take them to court for your car or your property being damaged. That's not right. But I want to bring it back to something you just said. How do we change that? We focus on local races. And in those local races, we build, and we build. We see it happening across our state. We just saw it happen in Lake Charles. We just saw it happen in DeRidder Parish. DeRidder Parish now has its first black mayor. Lake Charles now has its first black mayor. And guess what? In Lake Charles, Calcasieu Parish, he's an independent. But the way we build is that we hear the voices of everyone. We want to hear independents alike. We also want to hear from our Republican brothers and sisters. The reason why? Because we all collectively make up Louisiana. And that's the way that we build. The way we build this thing back is we have to build trust. The way we build trust is we have to show them that we're fighting. The way we show them we're fighting, we bring it to every parish, every district across this state, and we show them that in this time of need, we're going to hear you. Anything we've done in the past, we'll own it. If it was wrong, we'll own it. But if we can fix it, that's what we're going to focus on. Fixing the problem in front of the people of Louisiana every single day. And this new tour that we're going on across our state, where we're talking about what does it take in order to keep somebody alive, the Fight for Our Lives tour, that is where we're going to begin. And we're going to every single rural parish. You see, before, the means of engagement was to go to every single urban parish. But this time around, we're going to rural parishes. We're going to those areas that we haven't went to before. And it may even be parishes that are heavy leaning Republican. We want to hear from you. Because guess what? You're also a part of Louisiana. We want to hear your voice. We need to hear your voices. We can only become a better party by Louisiana becoming a better state. And Louisiana becomes a better state when we can hear the voices of all people, all creeds, all colors, all genders, all orientation, collectively. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead. Point Warrington with WRKF. Does the Democratic Party have a viable candidate to run against Cassidy at this point?
I'll tell you yes. I've been asked this question. It's probably the most asked question I've had since I've served in the role as executive director for the Louisiana Democratic Party. I will tell you yes, there's a short list of several people. However, as you know, the way that a lot of this works is confidentiality, and some people are just not ready to announce shit. They're not ready to say whether or not they're going to run or when they want to launch their campaign. So for now, we have to keep that under wraps. But I can guarantee you, Bill Cassidy will have a Democratic strong competitor or opponent on this side of the aisle that's going to run against him. And I think it's very telling that his own party has lost faith in him. And it's because he bends to the will of those or someone who he fits to call a king. Now, I won't say the name, but we know the person who fits to call himself a king. And what he did was, he thought that if he voted against him, it would help him. And then when he found out that they were going to come out against him, he tried to get back into their good graces. And it didn't work. Louisiana needs somebody who's going to fight for them all the time and not some of the time. Louisiana needs somebody who is going to put the will of the people forward over personal politics. And Bill Cassidy has shown time and time again he's not that person. And I will tell you again, we will have someone running not only his race, but other congressional races before the midterms get here. And that also includes House Speaker Johnson. Yes, we have someone that's very interested in running for his race, and we're very excited about that person.
How many people are on that short list?
I can't say it this time. That was a good one, though. Thank you. Good question. Yes, sir.
immigration enforcement efforts, because right now, and I've interviewed some people, many people are now terrified with the immigration enforcement. It's led to several events being canceled, including the Kenner Hispanic Festival. They're terrified that it's going to be raided by ICE agents or people who may be impersonating ICE agents.
Well, I'll say yes, we're absolutely engaging with not just some people amongst our party, but we're also talking to other organizations across the state of Louisiana about what legal parameters we can bring forth to try to make sure we can safeguard those citizens who are inside of our state legally, who have went through all of the necessary procedures in order to be citizens of our states. What I can tell you is what you see happening right now is nothing more than a political stunt to show people that campaign promises were made and people are trying to keep those promises the best way that they can. But it's literally destroying the very fabric of who we are as a country. And this is the reason why we have to be as engaged now more than ever. Birthright citizenship was taken off the table. And I don't think people understand what that means for us as a country and what that means for us as a nation. Things that have historically made us who we are as a country are being rewritten as we see it. And you know the crazy part is that some folks think they don't even have to go through Congress. The very body that passes the legislation, that creates it, they think they don't have to go through Congress in order to do it. That in itself is against the law. That in itself is against the Constitution. The very words that were written. We the people. It's not about we the people right now, it's about we the few. And we have to get back to we the people and defining who we the people is inside of this state and inside of the other 49 states around this entire country. Any other questions?
Darius, would you rather have a Democrat run against Cassidy or another Republican?
Say that again.
With the close primary, there's no guarantee Cassidy will be the Republican standard bearer in the general election next year. Would you rather run against him or some other Republican?
Bring any of them on, Jim. Any of them. Anyone, and I want to be clear about this, anyone that pushes this philosophy known as MAGA, we want to take them on head on. We want debates. In fact, I'll call out Speaker Johnson right now. He said that in recent articles that he'll be willing to talk about and detract away from any Democratic arguments that says that the big, beautiful bill is bad. Well, I welcome him on any stage, anytime, any place, Let's have a discussion in front of the people. Let's talk about the facts. Let's go through line by his own congressional budget office, who said it's going to add $1.3 trillion. His own congressional budget office, who has said billionaires look to benefit from this in corporations more than the people who make up the working class of our country. I want to take him on anytime to have that debate. Because it's a lie. It's an emphatic lie. And the more we lie, the more we lose the trust of the American people. The more we lose the trust of Louisianians from all across our state. And we have to stop it. And the way we stop it is, let's put the facts on the table. Don't run from it. Let's address it. But many won't allow it to happen because they're afraid. They're afraid that once the facts come out, once people start speaking the truth, people will start believing the truth. What you all see happening right now is called propaganda technique, or political propaganda. When you say something enough and you hear it enough, you start to believe it. This is the reason why it has so many distractions, so many detractions on social media and things alike. But I also offer you this. The Louisiana Democratic Party, because I heard the statement you made, Jim, was that while we still have the plurality across the state of Louisiana, meaning that we have more registered Democrats inside the state of Louisiana than we have Republicans, what I can tell you this, since I've been on this job, we've had more political engagement than the Louisiana Republican Party. That's a fact. Be it social media, be it media. People are buying back into what the Democratic Party is selling them because they believe it. And they know it, to be honest. You go on every single social media site, you'll see that we have gained more followers than the Republican Party. In fact, let's bring it back to something else. When you talk about the big, beautiful bill, I want you all to go on the Louisiana Republican Party site, social media, website, anything. They don't even cover the big, beautiful bill. Why? Because it's highly unpopular in the state of Louisiana. They posted nothing about the big, beautiful bill. They talked about 4th of July. They even talked about what happened in Texas, which is rightfully so. But they will not talk about the big, beautiful bill because they know it is a negative detractor from what their bottom line mission is. If you want to grow followers, if you want to grow voters, they refuse to talk about it because they know it does not benefit the people of Louisiana. Whether you decide to be a Democrat, an independent, or to be a Republican, it does not benefit the state of Louisiana. And that is a truth.
The resolutions that the legislature passed asking Congress not to pass the big beautiful bill, not to cut SNAP benefits, not to cut Medicaid benefits, do you think that will continue to resonate during the midterms?
I think so, because they're afraid too. They know that if they get behind something that is so highly unpopular that it can affect their chances of actually winning again also. I mean, when you look at common sense legislation, this is just simply not common sense. And I would agree that they will have to do something that is going to show that they're against this bill because they know the effects of what it's going to have on the state of Louisiana. There are many right now, including the Senate president, who has said we have to go into a special session. Why? Because almost $3 billion will have to be cut from Louisiana's budget just to foot this big, beautiful bill and how it's going to affect Louisiana citizens across our state. That's the only way we can gear ourselves to be protected enough for what's to come. Now, how does this affect Louisiana? Well, there's only two primary areas you can cut from in Louisiana that are unconstitutionally guarded. So they have no constitutional guards around them. That's education and health care. Now, we already know we're one of the lowest in terms of education. In terms of expectation of life, we're also one of the lowest inside of our country. This only digs us further into a hole. Not only that, we will also increase the cost of living for every Louisianian, meaning that your everyday working class citizens are going to be pushed deeper into poverty across the state of Louisiana. That is what no one is talking about, and that needs to be the center of focus around how it's going to affect Louisianians. To keep talking about it. People have to be prepared. I don't know, have you seen what happened in Rapides Parish? There was an urgent care facility or urgent care company Every single urgent care with this company was closed permanently. Do your research if you haven't seen that. Rapides Parish is another one of those rural areas across our state who doesn't have the luxury of having rural hospitals. So now you have people who, again, when you talk about basic access to health care, that's a basic health care provider. Every single urgent care in Rapides Parish is closing. You have to understand the way that companies think. You don't wait for the problem to happen before you make changes. You forecast it, you see where you make cuts, and they're trying to save their bottom line. And for a lot of these hospitals, the only way they can save their bottom line is to get in front of it early. So you're going to see a whole lot more cuts. Now, while these cuts may come next year or after the midterms in 2027, that does not preclude people from already preparing themselves from a business standpoint, from a healthcare standpoint, to protect their interests in what it is that they provide. And that's what you see happening right now. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lanus, can you speak to the fact that there are already some states who may not have elections? If it's that constitutional, then how do we do about that?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. Can you say that one more time?
Can you speak to the fact that some states may not have elections? May not have, they're doing away with their election, the next election? And is that constitutional? What do we do about those states?
Well, I'll tell you this, a lot of voter suppression has been going on. As of last year, I want to say 32 states across the country took away voter protections that were historically there to ensure that people, one, not only can register to vote without certain guidelines or blockages or barriers. Those things are now starting to come back, and you're starting to see that happen. I think that is increasingly vital for those states who don't have elections to keep those people as involved, as engaged, as informed as possible. You have to be prepared for what is ahead. This is almost as, I'm going to say almost as serious, this is like preparing for a storm, for a hurricane, because we live in Louisiana, so I want to simplify this in its simplest term. This is almost like preparing for a hurricane. And I'm not talking about a category 1. I'm not talking about a tropical storm or a tropical depression. I'm talking about a category 5, because people are going to die. People's lives are on the line. I'm not trying to say this to be scary. I'm not saying this to spook anyone. I'm saying this because this is the absolute truth. When people lose their ability to have access to affordable care, this is what happens. And I want you all to understand who's going to hurt the most. Our most rural citizens in Louisiana. Now, I don't do this to talk about race, but I think you have to say this in order to quantify who we're talking about. 62.1%. This came from the PARS research. 62.1% are rural white citizens. The very people who elected those who chose to vote against them for political reasons, for personal reasons. That's not right. Again, as I said before, I'm a Democrat. Have been my entire life. In fact, you can call me a yellow dog Democrat, because I think I'll vote Democrat as much as I need to, because that's what I agree with and that's what I align with. But I will tell you this. Even if you're a Republican, I'm going to fight for you, because you deserve someone who's going to fight for you. Even if you're a Republican, guess what? The Louisiana Democratic Party is going to fight for you, because you deserve to have a party that's going to tell the truth, a party that's going to fight for you no matter what your needs are, no matter how you prescribe to vote. Now, don't get me wrong. We'd rather you vote with us. That doesn't mean that we can't be your voice also. In this time, politics has to go out the window. So when I say the normal rules of engagement are gone, that's what I mean. The playbook for how you do politics is out the window. You know why? Because every single day, what you see happening in Washington, D.C. is those who are breaking the law. The Constitution is what governs this country. That is what we're supposed to follow. There are rules in place for a reason. There are checks and balances in place for a reason. We have 3 branches of government for a reason. Yet one particular branch sees fit to circumvent all of those processes. That is against the law. And this is the reason why we have to fight, why we have to be engaged, and why we must vote with our conscience and not simply for political matters. Yes, ma'am.
Are you preparing for further voter suppression for the midterm?
Yes, I am. The way we prepare for further voter suppression is that we have to now engage more young people. One of the first things I did was I said I want to recruit young people from all across this state. The Louisiana Democratic Party now has over 100 signed up volunteers and interns, and we did this in less than 2 weeks. 2 weeks. What I tell you now is that we're building an army of volunteers who are going to make those phone calls, who are going to travel with us across the state, who are going to help us build and process legislation that makes sense for Louisianans across our state. And we're going to build this party back from its very foundation. We're going to reach the people who we've lost. We're going to talk to independents too, because we do know that, guess what, while you may not have a party, you still have a vote. And you have the right to choose who you want to vote for. And the person who speaks to your needs, who speaks to your values, who speaks to your core, that's what they're going to go with. And I do believe that they will vote for us. We saw it happen when they voted for John Bell Edwards twice. Twice. That's what we're building back for. And this thing that we're talking about is called the new Louisiana Southern Strategy. You all heard it from me first. It is coming. It is coming. It is coming. So for those who doubt it, as I said before, I want you to remember this moment that I told you this, because it's going to happen. We're building this back with young people. We're building this back with our normal voters. We're building this back with our Republicans. With those who want to vote for us that are Republicans. And we're also building this back with independents alike. This is the new Louisiana Democratic Party.
So speaking of that, as you talk about the growth, do you see the growth in the party being perceived as being more left-leaning or more centrist-leaning?
I think we'll call, what I'll say is I don't think it's leaning either way. The Louisiana Democratic Party has and will continue to be a party of inclusion. It has and will continue to be the populist party, going all the way back to our days of Huey P. Long. This is the reason why we are who we are, because no matter where you fall in line, if you call yourself a liberal, that's fine. If you call yourself a blue dog Democrat, guess what? That's also fine. If you are progressive, we want you in the fight because you have the energy we need to carry this thing forward. But what I will say is that we will continue to be a party of inclusion. No, I do think that we need more progressive measures to help push us into where we're going right now. What do I mean by that? I mean the energy. I mean the organizing. I mean the mobilizing. I mean the strategizing. Those things are vitally important right now in this time. There are some who prescribe to say when you use the word progressive, oh, it just means far left-leaning liberal. Guess what? That stuff like that means nothing to me. The reason why is because we are one party. We will continue to be one party, a party of all. If you want to be a Republican voting with Democrats, guess what? Come join our party if you see fit to join. Even if you don't want to join, we're still going to treat you as if you are someone who wants to be a part of our party, or at least a part of the movement that we have moving forward.
As you're aware, Elon Musk is looking at forming a third party. And unlike Rouge, who made a similar effort, who said, I want to target every single race, Musk is of the opinion that if he can get just 3 senators and approximately 8 House members, that he will literally control the balance of power in Washington, because the Democrats will be on one side, Republicans on the other, and it only takes approximately 11. Obviously, he could pour a massive amount of money into certain races. What are your thoughts of his prospects, and would you think it would be a favorable thing if he was able to accomplish his goal?
I say simply put, Elon, leave the drugs alone. The reason why I say this is because, one, America already has a third party. It's called the Independent Party. It's been here for X amount of years. The Independent Party. As you just said before, Ross Perot was at one point in time, he was a candidate. In fact, guess who else was tinkering at trying to be a candidate for the Independent Party? Trump. And he tanked a whole race because he was tinkering around with it. But what I will say is this. You know, we can laugh, we can joke. Right now it's not so much a joking time. What I will say is anybody who's willing to believe Elon Musk at this point in time, you're crazy. He's shown where he stands. At one point you got in bed with the president, then you got out of bed with the president because whatever else happened, now you all are having a public dispute online. This is the type of rhetoric that, as I said before, we are doing away with. I don't even want the Louisiana Democratic Party to be anywhere near or involved in that level of conversation because it's kooky, it's crazy. It's anything that's going to distract us from where we need to go. Anything that's going to distract us from our mission, anything that's going to distract us from what we need, what we know we have to focus on, which is going to be 2026, 2027, and most specifically, and most importantly, 2028. Here is something you all didn't know, and I'll tell you now. The DNC, at this point in time, in this juncture, has Louisiana on the short list for the 2028 presidential convention. That's big for the state of Louisiana. Why is this important? Because they know Louisiana is a battleground state. The data shows it, the voter rolls show it, and the energy of our party is beginning to show it. And I'm here to tell you now, I cannot wait to bring, and our chair, Randall Gaines, cannot wait to bring DNC Chair Ken Martin to this state so we can see what it is we're fighting for. See, the only thing we need right now is investment. That's what we have historically lost. Louisiana can be a blue state again. And even if it can't be a blue state, it can be a purple state. It can be a battleground state, because it is. In its soul and its heart, it is. But we have to get back to the original messaging. We have to get back to what is the central focus, and that is the people of this state and how we fight for them. Yes, sir.
Does the Democratic Party support efforts to keep independents out of general elections in Louisiana?
No, that's not been anything that we supported. In fact, that legislation came from Republicans again. When they did the closed primary system, they said that if you are an independent or registered independent, you cannot vote in the primaries. Which again, I would like to say that that's called voter suppression. You're stopping people's ability to use their right as Louisiana citizens and American citizens. But you can vote in the general election. They want you to have no party affiliation in order to vote in the primary, which I think is crazy. But I tell you this, if there are any independents who are watching, if there are any independents inside of this room, we have a place for you inside the Louisiana Democratic Party. We're going to fight against it. We're going to speak out against it. And we want you to come and join us. Even if you don't join our party, come and join our efforts. Come and join our movement. Because we know that what we're doing is in good faith. And what they have created through legislation like that was in bad faith.
You said one of the key issues is getting funding. And so what I want to know is how do you expect to gain in that? Where is that money coming from that you want to seek out?
Well, I say some of that is going to come from the Democratic National Convention, but a lot of it has to come through my efforts. That's my job as the executive director for the Louisiana Democratic Party. I'm someone who is an award-winning, and I guess this is where I toot my horn a little bit. I'm an award-winning executive director. I'm someone who has had the ability to raise over $1 million before for organizations, and I look forward to putting that forward inside of this party, inside of this organization at this time. But before I go out and I ask somebody for a dime of money, I need them to know what I'm fighting for. I need them to know what our party stands for. I need them to understand what our values are, because I need them to understand why you're putting your money forward inside of this effort. It's an effort to fight for you, to be with you, and to stand up for your rights, no matter who stands in the way.
What other cities are on that short list for the, you said 2028 DNC?
2028.
Yeah. Do you know what other cities are, or what other states are on that short list?
Even if I knew who those cities were, I only want New Orleans. Only city I care about right now is New Orleans. And when I bring them here, when our party brings a chair here, the National DNC chair, we want to make sure we show him why Louisiana should be on that list, or why we should be picked. I think you saw it with the Super Bowl. I think a lot of people saw it with Essence this past weekend, a holiday weekend. And when we bring him here, we want to show him that Louisiana is truly the most culturally diverse state in the entire country. We want to show them why, again, we are a battleground state and why investment into this state makes sense for elections moving forward. By the way, I've only been on the job for 3 months. Thank you.
What is the Democratic Party doing to correct the sin that it has, even here in Louisiana? we had the reigning Democrat as the mayor of Baton Rouge. And they went find somebody to get in the rest of the Democratic Party. Every time it would leave, the people didn't leave the Democratic Party, it left the common people. I've been part of IBW, I've been no party, but every time I turn around, they leave. They leave. They put somebody in a place that'll leave. That's one reason I fought the rain to get here. How are we going to correct the sense of the past?
So there's a lot we can do to correct it. One, as I said before, the way you gain trust is you own what you did wrong. You don't run from it. That's the way I've always been taught. My grandmother taught me that. You do something wrong, you own it. You stand up, you look it in the face, and you show people how you move forward. You show them through action, and your action should make the impact that makes them start to believe again. So anything that the Louisiana Democratic Party did wrong, there's some people that said that you didn't come to the rural areas, you only focused on urban areas. You know what? We did that wrong.
There's a lot of no party people out there looking.
Absolutely. There's a lot of them that say that the legislation that you pushed in the past, you didn't speak to all Louisiana, you spoke for certain ones. You know what? We did that wrong. There are those that say you didn't fight strong enough for teachers to get pay raises. You know what? We did that wrong. There'll be others that'll say that our unions need more support. You need a louder voice. We need more action. You know what? We did that wrong. But I'm here to tell you, for every wrong, there is a right. And we will fight. I will fight. The Louisiana Party will fight to correct every single wrong. What I can ask you is, will your other party do the same? Will they say what they did wrong? Or will they continue to walk in the wilderness that has left Louisiana citizens astray? If that's the answer, I tell you to vote different. Vote different. Again, I'm not telling you to change your party, but I am telling you to make a change with your vote. And don't let your vote be personal solely on your own account. Think about the people who have to come after you. If you have a child, think about your child. Do you want a Louisiana where we're thriving in education, or one that's going to continue to steal money away from your public school system? Think about your grandkids. Do you want a Louisiana that's going to have schools that are filled with certified teachers that are working tireless on the front lines? Or do you want to keep electing and passing legislation that puts money in the hands of those who don't see to give them a valuable education? Do you want a Louisiana where you got all your hospitals closing? And now those who have worked their entire lives and paid into a system have now had all of those dollars taken away. If that's the kind of Louisiana you want, I'm here to tell you we want a different type of Louisiana. I want a Louisiana that's going to protect kids, elderly, disabled veterans, especially those who have fought and gave their very lives for our country. One that puts education first, one that protects health care, and one that adheres to the people across our great state. And I know that everyone in this room, everyone looking and watching through those cameras in front of me, all want the same thing. Why? Because we wouldn't be inside of this room today. And these conversations wouldn't be taking place across our communities if we didn't.
Thank you, Darius.
Thank you. I appreciate you all having me this morning.